Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
CJ Stroud did it again. Just how good are the Texans now? Plus, no Justin Jefferson, no problem for the Vikings, and no defense, no problem for the Lions. Today's episode brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat over 50 infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
On Sunday, against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans went from a great story to legit AFC playoff contender. They get a 30-27 win thanks to CJ Stroud, who gets the game-winning drive. As time expires, they get the field goal to beat the Bengals, who had come all the way back in a game Houston really had dominated for most of the contest. John Hickman from Locked On Texans joined me now. And John, this comes on the heels of CJ Stroud breaking the rookie record for passing a week ago against the Buccaneers in another game that came down to the final minutes. And he looks like we should be talking about a legit MVP candidate right now. An MVP candidate, John, is what I said. How has this team put this kind of run together?
Taking advantage of the opportunities. And this isn't the saying, this isn't your grandma's or your granddad's, and this isn't your last year's Texans team. This isn't
your slightly older brother's Texans.
It's not that. This is a new energy around this team. This is better players in the locker room, better players on the field, better play calling, better head coaching, better clock management, better QB play. Today, better running back play, better wide receiver play, better DB play. Everything right now for the Houston Texans compared to the past couple of seasons is better, starting from the top all the way down. The energy is different, and they believe, right? I think coming into this offseason, the national media news was centered around where they didn't get Bryce Young. They drafted an overhyped Ohio State quarterback. He's not going to work out. They believed every step of the way. And now you're looking at a team over 500 for the first time since Deshaun Watson's year when they went to the playoffs and lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. Opportunity to go on a real playoff run. They got Arizona coming up next Sunday at home. The opportunities are there. And when you get better at every position, it's easier to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, and they now hold the tiebreaker over the Cincinnati Bengals, who they may be competing for in the AFC for a playoff race. It's not hard to look around this team, John, and see guys who were undervalued, underestimated a little bit. CJ Stroud looked like he had a chance to be the number 1 overall pick. Maybe Frank Reich's pick to be the number 1 overall pick. He got overruled by management, but was not QB1, fell to the Texans. Tank Dell, a player that, a lot of people thought, he's too small. He's been sensational for this team. And it seems like there is this culture with DeMeco Ryans where they're leaning into that. They're saying, look, no one thinks we can do this. Let's go out there and show them every week. How do you think that cultural part is impacting this team right now?
Man, Deion said, you look good, you feel good, you play good. And I think for Houston, it's a mindset.
Never worked for me on the golf course, John.
I think for Houston, it's a mindset right now that we can do it. Now, have they played the most consistent football through this run? No, they haven't. You look at the Carolina Panther game, a game that they easily should have won. The Atlanta Falcons game, another one, a game that they easily should have won. But through the course of this run, there's just been a lot of things go right for Houston. But the number one thing has been execution. In the past, I can keep going back to the past, and I think that's the right thing to do right now, because in the past, the game Houston won today, they would have lost in the second quarter, right? In the past, some of the opportunities that went their way today, it would have been interception, a turnover, not being able to capitalize on the turnover, not being able to pick up a first down, not being able to find the end zone. That would have been an issue in the past. They just this is just totally different. At times I'm speechless because I've been around this team for the past couple of seasons, covering them since the demise, the Jack Easterby days. And to see this team elevated with some real moves made in the offseason, a real identity, I think is important too. They just believe that they can go out there and beat any team, and they've been able to do that for the most part. Now you look at the schedule, I'm speechless. I know we're supposed to be having a conversation, but I'm speechless at how good this team has performed the last couple of weeks and how they turned around their season so quickly.
Stay up to date all year on the Houston Texans by subscribing to Locked On Sports today and Locked On Texans on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Thanks for making Locked On Sports today your first listen. Coming up, the Vikings won again with new QB Josh Dobbs, who, remember, just showed up. Before we get to that, the Browns had a really good day after it looked like it was going to be a really bad one. We spend a lot of time talking, you and I. We get fired up together on wins and losses, who starts and who sits. I'm thankful for that connection. And today I want to chat about something a little more personal. Whether you're on extended travel, bracing for a major weather event, or limited by another supply shortage, you are covered. Thanks to our partners at Jase Medical, lifesaving antibiotics and a long list of daily medications can be ordered in a 1-year supply right to your door. Even ED generics for Cialis and Viagra. Go online right now at jasemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply of daily medications. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jase. I'm thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to have to cut pills in half. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year's supply. I also ordered an antibiotics kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. If you or someone you love would get peace of mind from having a year's supply of any daily medication, go to jasemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. And remember to use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. The Browns put together a stunning comeback win over the Ravens.
Cleveland Browns victorious 33-31 in Baltimore over the Ravens. I do remember a postgame show where I said I didn't want to hear any excuses. I knew you were banged up. I knew you were injured. But if you want the rest of the NFL to believe in you, if you want the rest of NFL media to believe in you, you've got to give them a reason. And to go into Baltimore today, even more so to go down 14-0. 14-3, 17-3, 17-9. And this team just kept fighting and clawing, showing its resiliency, showing its unity. You guys, in the 7 seasons I have covered the Cleveland Browns, I have never seen a team, first off, as well talented as this group is. And there's a lot of individual talent on this Cleveland Browns roster. But this team and this roster in no way plays like a bunch of individuals. They are 100% a team.
The 49ers got right against the Jaguars.
34-3, Croc. This is the team that we saw for the first 5 weeks of the season. This was not close. This was from drive 1, sacks, creating turnovers on defense. 49ers offense operating on a highly efficient level, and the 49ers getting back where they were with scoring 30 points a game here, 34 in this one, although they weren't able to sneak Christian McCaffrey into the end zone for the record breaking run or reception, as it might have been at the end of that game. And I wonder how Doug Peterson took that. I didn't get a chance to see the handshake at midfield after the game, so let me know in the chat what happened there, because I can't imagine Doug Peterson liked Kyle, maybe understanding why, but still probably not liking it. And I think Kyle Shanahan probably realized later, someone was in his headset and said, hey, Chris McCaffrey could get the record right here. He's like, oh, let me pull 25, put 23 back in the game. And let's hope he doesn't get hurt. But wire-to-wire domination by the 49ers.
Oh, boy. It was a rough day at the office for the Falcons as they fell to the Cardinals.
I do. I definitely need a break. I agree with you, Tanisha. When Desmond Ridder scored and I looked at the clock and I saw 2 minutes and 33 seconds left, I was like, Arizona's going to score, you know. The question is just how quickly they score. Do they bleed off all the clock, or do the Falcons get one more? That was it. And so now I'm at a point where I'm just like, hey, it's a great time to have a bye week because I need a break from this team. I don't know what else to say. I think everybody kind of needs a break from this team. Just get back, take a chill, take a week off and, enjoy a good football team, next weekend on Sunday.
Your choice.
Wash whatever the Falcons have been these last couple of games out of your mouth, that bad taste out of your mouth, and, just get back to enjoying life. Take a walk during the fall, go to a pumpkin patch, get that recipe from grandma for Thanksgiving, whatever you need to do to get your nice little reset, go ahead and do it. You have my permission.
And on the hardwood, Zion was no match for Luka.
For the Locked On Pelicans listeners here, since we're doing this on both channels right now, who looked worse, the Saints or the Pelicans today, offensively, defensively, literally everything?
And on the Mavs side, who looked better, the Cowboys or the Mavericks today? Look at that synergy.
All of the
Locked On Cowboys,
here.
Locked On Saints. The Mavs just blow out the Pelicans in this game. The offense opened in the third quarter, and they never really looked back.
No, it was really that third quarter barrage from three. I think they were 8 of 13 from three in that quarter that just buried the Pelicans. No, the Pelicans don't have the stats. 47% from three in this game. Like, it wasn't on the same kind of volume as the Dallas Mavericks did over, I think, 50 attempts for Dallas here. But it was interesting because in the first half of that game, right, they were like unloading from three. They were making threes, but it was also them just attacking the lane, getting baseline cutters that opened it up in the second half to leave those shooters wide open as New Orleans tried to take that away.
About a month ago, the Minnesota Vikings season seemed to be headed toward the Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes. 5 wins in a row later and 2 quarterbacks, including one who just showed up. The Minnesota Vikings are back in the thick of a playoff race. They beat the Saints on Sunday, 27-19. Josh Dobbs, 23 of 34 for 268 and a touchdown, and miraculous performance for a guy who just showed up now longer than he was there last week. Luke Braun from Locked On Vikings joins me now. And Luke, last week, okay, Kevin O'Connell's like telling him where to throw it and what to look for. The incredible story of what the Vikings did last week. But one could be forgiven for being a little cynical. Okay, it's 1 week, but now it's 2 weeks and they look really good again. How are they doing this?
You have to give a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell just for coaching up Josh Dobbs and the quarterback coaching staff as well. That's just been with him and in his ear, and then his ability to take it all in as well. He's only been in the building for 12 days, but unlike that Falcons game, which felt very unsustainable. It was a lot of, the play broke and he kind of scrambled around and the Falcons didn't take a good angle and he got a first down. And it's like, okay, you're not going to get away with that all day. But this was real quarterbacking. He was reading, delivering balls with anticipation, staying in the pocket. And when he did bail out of the pocket, it was deliberate. Right. It was, okay, I've been through this progression. I'm now my own check down. I'm running. That was the way that his scramble touchdown came to be. He went through everything and then said, all right, I'm running for this. And he's still looking to throw. He's not using his legs as a crutch. He's using them as a weapon. And I think there's a big difference there. And mechanically, he seems to have good habits that he didn't have in Arizona. So they've coached him up. And how this continues in the next few games, Joshua Dobbs has earned himself a little bit more leash. We'll see how long that leash gets when Jaren Hall is healthy again, who they really, really, really like. I don't think it's worth forgetting about him. But we'll kind of see how this progresses and how much the Vikings can press with this offense once people get a little tape on it.
Yeah, and they are doing it without Justin Jefferson. Right. And TJ Hawkinson was the star in this one, 11 catches for $134 and a touchdown. And you tweeted out, facetiously about his value that people were saying, myself included.
There's been a narrative
how valuable
in
is that
Minnesota.
guy? And he was incredibly valuable in this football game. The question is, I think, sustainability for that. Like whenever Justin Jefferson does come back, it becomes easier. But how long can he carry this offense?
With Hawkinson, the offense runs through him in ways that sometimes show up in the box score and sometimes they don't. But he's always got a key block. He's got, blocking edge rushers one-on-one in pass pro, key blocks, pulling out on sweeps, stuff like that, being the key on a pick play. He has a load-bearing role on just about everything the Vikings do. That said, he was on a pitch count today because he's dealing with a rib injury. So they did have a few drives where he wasn't able to get out there, and he still had that kind of day. But that's the kind of thing that Hawkinson has been good for since he got to Minnesota is, all right, nothing else is working, but I guess today's the day that Hawkinson goes for $135 and a score or two. Sometimes you just have it there, and the stuff that they do with him in the middle of the field, choices and basics and stuff over the middle of the field, making contested grabs and all that is just what he does. I think people get incredibly critical once you pay a guy. Then suddenly every single thing that isn't exactly perfect means you shouldn't have paid the guy. And I sort of balk at that. I think, I mean, look, you're getting what you paid for with Hawkinson. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Stay up to date on the Minnesota Vikings by subscribing to Locked On Sports today and Locked On Vikings on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, the Lions needed next to no defense to get their 7th win, and that's okay. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 back in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options that include spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Hit a teaser last week. Man, that feels good when that comes through. The Bills are expected to coast to a win tonight against the Broncos. FanDuel has Buffalo favored by 7 points. I happen to have that bet currently. You can also combine bets for a bigger payout. Same game parlays are a great way to enjoy watching sports. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and do the NFL season right. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. The Lions really weren't biting in kneecaps on Sunday afternoon in LA, but the offense was certainly packing a wallop. The end result just proves why Jared Goff is the man you want in charge, as Locked On Lion host Matt Derry points out.
Lions win today in what was, and let's start with the positives. All right, Jared Goff is damn good. He is. He makes every throw. He's under control. He's cool, calm, and collected. He leads this team. And when push comes to shove at the end of games, I want the ball in number 16's hands. The Lions ran the ball down the Chargers' throats in the first half to the tune of 177 yards. They ran for, 23 yards in the second half? That's it. They were forced to throw, and Goff delivered. 333 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, wasn't sacked, didn't throw a pick, passer rating of 122.4, and he stood toe-to-toe today with a guy that's always been in the top 10, in some top 5s in quarterback rankings, in Justin Herbert.
How can you not come all the way back around on Jared Goff? When the Rams decided, well, we have to get someone better, more upside in here to win a Super Bowl, and they did it. Matthew Stafford was that guy, was a clear upgrade. But the Lions wanted Jared Goff for a reason, and he has reinvented himself in Detroit. The button pusher extraordinaire with Ben Johnson cooking up every kind of schematic advantage you could possibly think of. And don't forget Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, this punishing offensive line. This offensive machine works as smoothly as any in the NFL. And when you look around the NFC especially, who of these top teams with their quarterbacks would you rather have? Yeah, Kyle Shanahan is the coach in San Francisco, but Brock Purdy is the quarterback. I trust Jared Goff more than Brock Purdy. The Cowboys have one of the most talented teams in the league, but Dak Prescott, I don't know, the next big game he wins against a really good team might be the first big game he wins against a really good team. And the Eagles just haven't looked quite the same this season. So why not Jared Goff and the Lions against Justin Herbert, against one of the best quarterbacks in the league? They went blow for blow, and it was Goff that was victorious. And finally, Georgia extended its streak of weeks being top ranked in the Associated Press top 25 to 22 on Sunday, giving the Bulldogs the second longest run at #1 in the 87-year history of the college football poll. The Bulldogs received 54 first place votes after they routed Ole Miss in what was a top 10 matchup. Behind Georgia, the rest of the AP top 8 remained unchanged. The Bulldogs have some work to do to make the longest streak of number 1. USC spent 33 weeks at number 1 from 2003 to 2005. Thanks for making Locked On Sports today your first listen. Now go find your favorite team's Locked On podcast and make them your second listen. Coming up on the next Locked On Sports Today, will the Bills get right on Monday night? So at least until tomorrow, stay Locked On Sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on Sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.